Those of us who know through personal experience that such miracles are possible will not need the weight of proof and argument. They have a costly heritage of which they can never be deprived. But to those who doubt, and who naturally doubt because they do not know, I would say this. Let us, for the sake of argument, take it that the visionaries and mystics of our Christian history all suffered the effects of a too vivid imagination. Let us take it for granted that revelations from an unseen world are an absurd impossibility. But let us then, in that case, fix our attention on the results for the world of those visions or dreams or hallucinations or fantasies. Call them what you choose, and on the gigantic upheavals brought about by them. The attitude of those who doubt is one of absorbing interest to those who know. It forces from them the tribute of involuntary respect. For those who doubt decline to be overruled by the convictions of those whose experiences they cannot share. How noble their example is in comparison with so many thousands who profess a faith they do not feel. Where through the lack of moral courage, so vast a concourse of human beings shelter their unbelief under the cloak of hypocrisy? The man who is too honest to profess a faith of which he has had no actual experience is generally to be trusted in all other departments of life. We do not speak of the professional mocker, the evil-minded blasphemer of all that is most holy and sacred in the universe. We are thinking now of the man who is in search of truth and who is striving for the highest perfection of which he, unaided by a faith in the divine, is capable. The life of such a man, as we shall see in the historical examples quoted in this book, is usually a long preparation for the life of service and truth. When it comes to him at last, is planted in the soil of integrity and justice, which has been prepared for it, to the lasting benefit of mankind. He is the chosen instrument when great issues are at stake, where the professing Christian is overlooked, for he has the necessary moral equipment which the professing Christian lacks, and he will bring his priceless gifts of truth and honesty, of endurance, perseverance, and tolerance into the new life of service, with the same unfaltering courage which he employed in his ardent search for truth. How different the life of the insincere professing Christian. The corrupt and soul-destroying atmosphere in which he lives is daily, hourly, unfitting him for service of any kind. His smug complacency, once and for always, bars him the way to spiritual progress. The employment of his baser faculties in the struggle to keep up deceptive appearances is dragging him deeper and deeper into the abyss of moral degradation, from which there is no return. Beware of him. Give him a wide berth, as wide a berth as you possibly can. For he will rob you of your purse. He will destroy your reputation and rob you of the fair name which was your heritage. If you stand in his way, you are lost, for he employs weapons which you could never use. The same oily suaveness with which he bolsters up the false reputation for godliness, which is his, will be used unscrupulously in your undoing. If you try to thwart him in his pernicious ways, under the protecting cloak of religion, for the love of Christ, and in the name of the most sacred cause, he will crush you. If you endeavor to stem the tide of evil influence which flows from him, and he will weep and wail and pray beside the grave in which your sullied reputation lies. I say again, beware of him. Or, if there is no other way, if duty calls you to the encounter with this dangerous man, if love of land and people forces you to meet his strength with yours, know this, that you must be prepared to sacrifice all earthly interest in the conflict with this man, for he has every material advantage on his side. His word will be accepted against yours, for he is a devout Christian in the eyes of men and public opinion, that mighty factor in all worldly success will go against you if you undertake to frustrate his pernicious aims. Be prepared for material annihilation. Brace yourself for the storm of persecution. Calm your emotions for the heart-wringing anguish, which will be your share. It may well be that the end of the encounter will find you forsaken, naked, and ashamed. It is quite possible that, as far as you are concerned, the destruction will be complete, that every shred of earthly pride, every vestige of material progress will be taken from you. Indeed, there will be no spiritual result either, unless your self-renunciation in this strife has been perfect on every point. There can be no half measures in the way of service.